This week in the Pentagon. Production of the F-22 Raptor ends this year.
The president has been quite clear that if there is money for the F-22 in the budget that comes to him, he will veto it.
Also, when a child loses a loved one.
This is my dad. Yeah. See it? You see it? He got shot in the artery and bled to death, but he got shot in Jalalabad. They took him to somewhere else.
Coping with the loss after the death of a military family member.
Just being able to see what they've gone through and they keep pushing forward, that's a huge inspiration for me.
Welcome to a special edition of This Week in the Pentagon from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I'm Army Sergeant John Mann. The all-volunteer force of the U.S. military has more married service members and families than any other time in its history. These unique circumstances create unique needs, especially for children. This week, we'll take a look at just a few of the many programs and services dedicated to the children of service members. At first glance, the camp looks just like the thousands of others that kids attend each summer. Plenty of games,
No, stop! Don't just let go!
a talent show, some fishing,
There's Cameron with my hat.
Here, did you try to?
Have you caught one yet?
Mama always said life is like a box of chocolates.
Yes, you never know what you're gonna get.
What sets this weekend camp out apart from the rest is not the list of activities that the kids get to do. Instead, it's what all of the campers have lost.
This is my dad. Yeah. See it? You see it? Yep. Michael Mickey Slobodnik.
Spencer shows off his button-sized picture of his dad, killed less than a year ago in combat.
He got shot in the artery and bled to death, but he got shot in Jalalabad. They took him to somewhere else in Iraq or Afghanistan. I don't know.
I'm going to ask a couple of questions about Spencer's dad.
Oh, he is.
Well, what was your dad's name?
Michael Mickey Slobodnik.
And were you really close?
Yeah. Duh, he's my dad.
What was your favorite memory of your dad?
Probably when he walked around like with his underwear all the time. Just didn't care about anything.
It's called Good Grief Camp, a program for military children run by the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, or TAPS. Kids are here to grieve and to heal after the loss of a family member.
So I lost my brother in April of 2006.
Chad Weichel has been a camp mentor for years. He says he knows what the kids are experiencing.
I know I get a lot out of it, and we always say we get more out of it than the kids, but I mean it's true. I mean I get so much out of that. Some of the bravest boys and girls I've ever seen are the TAPS boys and girls. I mean they've been through so much.
Which family member of yours died?
My brother,
And what was your brother's name?
Keith.
And when did he die?
1809. Shut up.
No, ask how.
How did he die?
Suicide bomber. Last one out of a market.
How did your dad die?
IED.
It's a lot more emotional. It really tugs deep at you because you hear these kids, and some of them lost their parents a year, 2 years ago. Some of them lost them within the past couple of months. Sometimes kids just need to talk, so you got to watch for the signs. And when a kid wants to talk, he'll talk. He'll tell you his whole life story in a minute. He might not tell you it 5 minutes later from that, but you get them at the right time, they'll tell you everything. And it's good because sometimes releasing that is just what they need, because a lot of kids bottle it up,
See this cat?
and it's not healthy when they do that kind of stuff.
Woo! Beautiful.
We'll come back to the Good Grief Camp later on in the program. But first, here's a look at other news this week in the Pentagon.
The Senate has voted to cut off spending for the F-22 fighter jet program. Secretary Gates recommended the cut to President Obama earlier this year. He told reporters tens of thousands of jobs will be created as work transitions from the F-22 to the newer F-35. Secretary Gates said if properly supported, the F-35 can become the backbone of America's tactical aviation fleet for decades to come. President Obama thanked lawmakers for their vote to cut off spending for the F-22, saying the money will be better used to support the American troops and protect the American people from future threats. The Army ranks have been stretched thin over the past 7+ years with the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, some relief is coming to soldiers, as revealed in this week's announcement by Secretary Gates to increase the size of the Army by 22,000 troops. Secretary Gates says this increase is temporary, with the need for additional troops lasting perhaps 3 years.
These additional forces will be used to ensure that our deploying units are properly manned and not to create new combat formations.
Admiral Michael Mullen, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, says more troops will provide many benefits across the board.
It will also help us get a better handle on dwell time and boost the number of people we can deploy with the capabilities our commanders most need.
The new post-9/11 GI Bill will replace the current Montgomery GI Bill starting August 1st, and already the VA has received more than 90,000 applications. Now the VA is getting ready to begin calculating payments because schools have been sending in enrollment certificates. Hundreds of schools are also calculating payments after agreeing to foot a portion of the tuition for veterans through a provision of the new GI Bill called the Yellow Ribbon Program.
We've entered into over 3,400 separate Yellow Ribbon agreements from over 1,100 schools across the country. So it's a very successful program, especially for the first year.
You can find more information at www.gibill.va.gov. There's also a toll-free number, 1-888-GI-BILL-1. For This Week in the Pentagon, I'm Marine Staff Sergeant Brian Buckwalter.
A visit to Fort Campbell would not be complete without seeing its famous Air Assault School, one of the few schools in the Army to achieve recognition as an Institute of Excellence. This high accreditation is made possible thanks to the dedication and professionalism of its instructors, known as the Black Shirts. The day starts around 3:30 in the morning. The next class of students line up and their instructors are ready to greet them. It's Zero Day, the beginning of another Air Assault class at Fort Campbell, and the Black Shirt instructors welcome them in the usual manner.
First of all, it's early in the morning, and Air Assault instructors are yelling at you, all right? You got to move with a purpose. Once you come through the arches, you're a student, no matter what rank you are.
The first impression we're out to make is that we mean business. The school it's not a joke. When they come through the arches, everything then begins for attention to detail.
If there's a situation you need to correct, and you got to correct them.
Get down! Get down, you! How are you moving so slow?
First, there is the little matter of in-processing, checking to see if each and every soldier has what they need. The Black Shirts are there, watching every detail.
As an instructor, it's the hardest job here at Fort Campbell. First, you got to wake up early so you can prep the class in order to teach the students. And then you have to interact with students professionally. And, you know, sometimes it's very hard.
Once the sun is up, the day really begins. First, a little warm-up.
Down! Up! 4, 4, 6, 4, 7, 4, 8, 4, 9. All the way up. 6 inches, get them there.
Though it may be hard to believe, all of this has a purpose.
It's like you have to compete with other students because we only can accept so many students in, and a lot of students apply. So whoever is left standing, that's the only people who get Air Assault qualified during that class date.
Not everyone passes the entrance exam. But since this is Zero Day, there is no penalty, and the students have the chance to try again another day. For those who pass, this is only the beginning.
There's 3 phases. The phase 1 is usually the introduction to all air assault operations, and phase 2 is all about sling load operations. They move on to phase 3, which is the rappelling and fast roping phase.
But when the class is completed, they will graduate as Air Assault soldiers. But the Black Shirts aren't quick to let go of their students.
Some of the students think they're graduated already, and it's just a joke going through the graduation. But if they don't sing the song right, the 101st Division song correctly, or don't sound off properly, then we let them know that they're still in school until they get their certificates and move on.
Coming up, strengthening academics through hands-on learning. Welcome back to our program. Not every summer camp is about life in the outdoors. Some are about providing opportunities to learn, like this camp at the U.S. Naval Academy.
What do you see behind the cylinder? What's going on behind the cylinder on the surface of the water?
They are the country's future scientists, doctors, and engineers. These young minds, ranging in age from 13 to 16, have come to the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, from across the country to learn a thing or two about science.
It's a lot of stuff they'll never see until they go to college, and we have some of the best technology and equipment here, so they'll never see it. So this is an awesome opportunity for them to do things that not even some college kids are doing. And they're just like, wow, that's so neat. How do we make it work?
The program is called STEM, short for Summer Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Program. It's designed to give kids the tools and motivation needed to make the sciences a lifelong career.
I want to be an Air Force pilot.
Well, it's because my brother's in the Navy. He's a lieutenant, and I'm like, I just really want to do this because it looks fun. This camp looks fun.
I love seeing all the youth get interested in science and engineering and math and realize that they can do it too.
Beth Much teaches chemistry at the Naval Academy. She's supervising one of the camp's more popular projects.
They're experimenting right now by designing their own boat and seeing which design works the best, and then we're going to have a competition to see which one can hold the most marbles and then also the most creative.
The record is 318 marbles in one aluminum foil boat.
60, 75, 80, 85, 280, 285.
This boat sank at 285 marbles. And when one boat would go down, the counting would start again.
35, 40, 65, woo! 65, woo!
265 marbles. Not very creative, but it still worked.
145.
This one hit bottom at 145.
The kids really like it. They really get into it. As you can see behind me, they're having a great time.
They also enjoyed showing off their unique designs.
Tell us about your boat.
We reinforce the edges with multiple folds, and we are an eco-friendly team.
The week-long summer program is open to all children, but you must apply. Those selected will receive full scholarships to attend the camp. For more information on the STEM program, visit usna.edu/admissions/STEM. For This Week in the Pentagon, I'm Petty Officer Liz Murray.
Up next, teenagers take flight.
Joe, it's just all in your head.
Welcome back to This Week in the Pentagon. Summertime is all about having fun, but as teenagers get closer to graduation, it's nice to know that there's one program for Air Force kids dedicated to inspiring their future and giving them wings, literally. The United States Air Force Academy is renowned as an institute of higher learning, scientific research, and tradition.
You could have a canard and have this in the front and have it be movable too.
At the Academy's Aeronautics Research Lab, another lesser-known tradition continues.
I thought it sounded really cool because I don't really like to camp. It's not like a camping camp.
Madeline is a high school sophomore from Scott Air Force Base, Illinois. Like many kids her age, she has two things on her mind: having a blast during her summer break, but also, what does she want to do for the rest of her life?
I'm definitely considering going into the Air Force for college and working there when I'm older.
For nearly a week at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, she got to do both. Madeline and 35 other Air Force kids from across the globe came to Colorado for a week at the Teen Aviation Camp, an Academy-sponsored program in its 10th year.
We just want to make sure they have an opportunity to figure out if the Air Force Academy is for them.
The campers get unique access to the Academy's cadet area, where they get a taste of life as a cadet, as well as a chance to see what the Academy has to offer.
You don't have to only aspire to be a pilot. It offers so much more. If you want to be a lawyer, it's all right. If you want to be an engineer, that's great too.
I might want to be a pilot in the future, but right now I want to be an aero engineer. We just saw that today and I really loved it.
But it wouldn't be an aviation camp if it didn't involve some aviation.
We got to design these planes out of this softwood. It was really cool. Mine actually flew sort of well, but I couldn't get it to fly too well in front of the camera.
The highlight of the Teen Aviation Camp was a chance for the kids to get up and fly in a real Cessna. However, Mother Nature had other plans, but it didn't stop these kids from flying.
We got Scott. Here we go, Scott.
The campers got a chance to put their design to the test through a little competition. Much to her surprise, Madeline's design ended up winning the day.
I didn't think that I was going to win. I was sort of going for style.
Madeline S.
I'm glad I got long distance. It was the greatest camp I've ever been to, and I'm definitely going to go to the Air Force Academy.
TAPS's Good Grief Camp would not be possible if it weren't for a group of mentors who come to the camp to work with the children one-on-one. None of them are grief counselors or professional psychologists. They're just normal people, most of them soldiers, who are here to make a difference.
I lost my parents when I was real young, so that's why I really wanted to do this camp, because I can get on a one-to-one level with them. It really tugs deep at you, because you hear these kids, and some of them lost their parents a year, 2 years ago. Some of them lost them within the past couple of months.
Survivors just find a lot of comfort in other survivors. So I lost my brother in April of 2006. I miss my brother every day. You know, I mean, our kids miss their dads and their other loved ones every single day. It's not something that comes and goes. It's just a constant companion, that grief.
What's your shirt up? Is that your dad?
When TAPS first started, they basically just worked with the adults, and 2 years after that, they kind of figured that, you know, it was a good idea to start bringing the children in, that they saw a great need for the children as well. We stressed to the children that their parents are heroes no matter what happened to them. They served their country and they did it proudly and they volunteered to do so. And no matter what the loss, no matter what the circumstances are of the death, their parent was a hero.
So it's been real neat just to see how what we're doing really does, it works and it affects the kids. Death is so universal. I mean, everybody experiences it. And so to bring comfort to somebody who's experienced that, to let them know that they're not alone, I think everybody has such a great respect for the men and women in our military that they want to do something for those families that have given up so much.
You can do it. Yeah, you can do it.
And I really believe that children's grief camps are the single most effective way to support grieving children. Something about that combination of factors that you can offer within a weekend is somehow so strengthening for a child on their journey. Every single individual's response to loss is different. Kids are incredibly courageous and inspirational.
Campfires, s'mores, sing-alongs, some time at the lake are just a few things that no summer camp would do without. But what the Good Grief Camp also does is that it takes time for the kids to simply stop and reflect back on the loved one that was lost.
Green light. Red light.
During TAPS's Good Grief Camp, there were times for laughter, excitement, and good old-fashioned fun.
Yeah! Right. Keep going, go. Fast. Go that way. This way? Yeah, that way.
What's your strategy?
Right.
Go!
The permission to have fun is a big one. I think that a lot of people think of grief camp as going to be something very depressing, like, are you going to get together and cry all weekend? And one thing I heard from the kids and parents both is these kids know how to grieve. They do it day in and day out. And it's really important that we also give them permission to have fun again, to reach out and experience sheer delight and belly laugh with somebody else.
That was awesome! That's two!
But there was also time to slow down, reflect, and simply grieve.
The pieces that are most valuable are connecting with other kids that understand, those opportunities to honor and remember, the opportunities to have fun, the immersion in a natural, relaxing, splendid landscape, and the permission to be yourself in whatever space that is, to laugh if I want to laugh, to cry if I want to cry, to be alone if I want to be alone, to be with others, to speak or not speak, but that just permission to be an authentic self.
Each night ended around a campfire, where a few simple rituals and ceremonies encouraged the children to think about the one they have lost.
When in his Jeep, we went through a huge puddle when my sister was in Girl Scouts, and it just went whoosh all over us. It was a water.
This is in memory of my dad. I liked it when he used to take me on rides on his four-wheeler.
Some wanted to spend that time alone. For others, being alone was the last thing they wanted.
What's in memory? Asked Wilfred Gordon. He was always asking questions. Oh, it's something you remember, said his father. But Wilfred Gordon wanted to know more.
Each child wrote a message to their loved one on a leaf and ceremoniously sent it off.
Every single individual's response to loss is different. So the simplest answer, and the one I think is most important to hold, is each individual that we meet has their own response to loss, and it's really important to honor them.
That's our show this week. We want to thank the Fort Campbell Public Affairs Office and the Fort Campbell Fisher House for their assistance in this program. Please be sure to tune in next week for more of the top stories surrounding the Department of Defense. I'm Army Sergeant John Mann. Thanks for watching. We leave you now with these special photos of military kids.